Hi, welcome. I am Orietta from Orietta Stitches. This is a fiber related knitting, spinning, crochet sometime podcast, and I live in a small town in northeast Italy, and I'm back after a little longer than I intended to show you what I've been finishing in the past 6-ish weeks and what I've been working on during my pastime. So the first things I want to show you, it's what I'm wearing. This is a finished object. Last time I showed you, I think I just had finished the body and the sleeves were missing. As you can see, we have 2 sleeves now. It's been washed and blocked, washed very well because this is a Holst garn, super soft, and it had the tendency to be soaked in spinning oil. So when you finish, you need to really soak it. And I usually use a little bit of dish soap to dissolve the spinning oil, and the water gets really, brownish, murky, grayish, not nice color. And you soak it a few times in warm water with some very oil aggressive, well, not aggressive, but wool wash usually is not enough. You need something that has some capacity to dissolve the oil in the water. And after you do that, the yarn bloom, develop, become softer and fluffier and fills all the holes. When you work it off, I usually buy this yarn, the Holst garn, super soft, of every Holst garn I own really, in cones. And it's when you work with them straight from the cone, it's usually kind of crunchy, and you look at it and you say, well, this is not very nice. But then when you wash it, it really show its true self and fill up all the gaps and become fairly soft. I would not call it super soft, but I'm wearing it next to skin and it doesn't bother me at all. I'm not super sensitive to the itchy factor, but it's good for me. I love this yarn. It's very light and very warm, and it's one of my favorite yarn so far that I used. So I haven't said what this is. This is the Polkly sweater by Midori Hirose, and you create this color work in the yoke. It's just a very simple stranded color work. You don't need to catch the float. It's super easy. It's just a few stitches from each color, and you pick your color, so you create like some movement in the color. And for the yoke, I mostly used small scraps of Holst garn I had, and some other color from a bunch of minis kits that I acquired a long time ago, which I have no memory of. I think it's I will link down below, as normally I do, my project page on Ravelry, if that is accessible to you. If you have any question and you can't get into Ravelry, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be very happy to find the information and give it to you. So this was I put together some color that I liked, and it worked out, I think, really nice, and I really love it. So yeah, I'm very happy with this finished project that took a little bit of time, because you work with fairly small needles. I think it was a 3.5 or a 3.75 perhaps, which is not too small, but small enough. It's fingering weight yarn. So I finished it and I'm really happy with it, and I might even think about putting together different sets of color and knit another one in the future. I really like the fit. It's very comfortable and I love it. So after I finished this, I took a look at all my standing whips. I have some leftover, let's call it, whips from last summer. I'm not big into summer knitting. I usually stick to a wool as long as I can, and then when I just can't stand it anymore because my hands get so sweaty, then I might knit 1 or 2 summer yarn pieces, but they're not my favorite. So I consider pulling those out, but then I decided no, not time enough. It's not time yet. I need to keep working on wool for a while. So I pulled out my Geo-Gradient shawl, which I've been working, I was following along for a while during the knit-along. This is a pattern by Stephen West. It's last year knit-along. So I love to do Stephen West knit-along. The only thing that I tell myself is I will do it only if when it suggests what kind of colors and how much of each color you need. If I can gather all those yarn from my stash, which is, considerably large, I will do it. Otherwise, I skip the year. And this year I had just a perfect combination of color. It was calling for 1, 2, 3, 4 color. And I found those 4 shades of green, which I really like together. So I started it, and I think I was able to keep up pretty much up to the second clue, which is kind of like the standard for me. I can never keep up with the whole month. It's usually a lot of knitting, and if it's involve some new stitches I've never done before, it takes me a little bit more than normal. I'm usually brain dead by the time I come home from work, so sometimes I just can't work on those kind of projects. So I had started the original center, and as many others did after the all, issues that came out there, which I'm not going to talk about right now. It's, too long ago. I reknit the center, and then I really enjoyed doing this eyelet section here. And the part that I liked the most was this section here, which was clue 3, and it has this how can I say it? It's like it kind of have the floats in the front. It's a slip stitches, I think, yes, section, and it created this kind of woven effect, which is really, really cool. This section though taught me that I can't count apparently, and I know some other of my friends that knit this shawl had the same problem, because I don't even know how many times I had to think back and reknit a section because I screwed up the count. But anyway, I got it done, and then the last section was this very cool kind of shell looking elongated stitches, and that's what killed me. I did the first stripe of it, and then I just I'm done. This is I can't do this. I wasn't feeling it, so I put it aside, and that was beginning of November, and it stays there in its hibernation until I picked it back up in March, and I finished it. Now, I decided to knit a very short version of this border, first of all because I wasn't particularly enjoying knitting it, and also because a couple of the yarn I was using, I was running pretty low, and as I wanted to be sure, I wanted this very cool green shade to be the last color and the border. I wasn't sure I could knit, a bunch of other section, so I could get back to this green color and finish it. And let's say that that was a good excuse for me to say, okay, I'm done, this is finished. So I knitted the very long I-cord bind off and I called it done. It's I have to say it is not my favorite shawl. I like it. I'm not sure I will wear it. It's I like the colors, but I'm a very pale person. I do not use makeup, so sometimes, you know, if I put it up, like that's how I would wear most likely. Well, I guess it can go. So yeah, you know, I might wear it, I might not wear it. If I don't, for now, it's been living on my knitting chair here in the yarn room, and you know, I like to look at it. The color makes me happy. They're very spring-like. So it's been, I mean, it's been a very good thing I finished it, because I hate to have lingering project that just sit there, you know, and I'm not working on them. And I kind of like to, I can't say that I am a monogamous knitter. I kind of like to have a few, 2 or 3 projects on the go. Mostly because, as I mentioned before, I have a lot of issues with pain in my hands and shoulder and, you know, body. And I find that having different style knitting, different kind of needle, like metal rather than bamboo, or like thicker needle and thinner needle, to, you know, be able to swap around those, not always work on the same kind of stitch, same kind of needle and same kind of size all time. It creates a lot less strain on my hand, and I can knit longer. So sometimes I would just put something aside for a while and work on something else, and then change, so to give my hand a rest. But normally I don't have like a gazillion project. I like to keep the number pretty low. And I mean, a blanket, well, that would take forever, so it can stay in the whip pile for as long as it takes. But sweater or shawl or other projects, I kind of like to, when I started, you know, finish it in a fairly short time. And I usually, when I get to the end of the body, I get really motivated to just get it out of the needle and on my body. So I'm looking here what I have to show. Oh yeah. So after I finish this show, I wanted to, sorry, I have to take it out, it's a bit warm. Oop. So I wanted to start something, and it was still kind of cold in the air. Spring was coming, but you know, it started, but it wasn't very warm yet. So I said, maybe I can squeeze out another winter project before it gets so warm and I can't work on it. And what I chose between, you know, I have a queue and I have, you know, plenty of yarn. So what I decided to try was another sweater by Midori Hirose, and it's called, I believe, Tulip Gy. It's a very cool sweater with a drop shoulder, and you work like the back piece and then the front, and you connect it around. And it has this very cool tulip. It's like cables, but they're made so they kind of look like a tulip motif. And I decided to knit it with one of the color of my Nutiden I own, and I think this is called Infinitive or Infinite something like that. And I paired it with some Ito Sensei yarn in the color Plum. That, oh gee, just a second. Oops, sorry about that bad noise. That was my yarn stash door. So with this Ito Sensei in the color Plum, this is the first time I use Ito Sensei or Sensai, something like that, yarn. And I have to say, I am not a big fan of super fluffy mohair that shed a lot. And I was very nicely surprised by this mohair. It's a bit on the pricey size, but it has a bigger longer meterage than other mohair I worked with. And the fluffy, it's very soft, and it has this contrast. You can see there, like it's like a blue hair with the silk core is more like fuchsia, and the fluffiness, it's feel like it's attached firmly to the core. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well, and it doesn't. It's not so invasive like other kind of mohair. I work with drops mohair. I worked with Rowan mohair. Some brain cells started wake up there. And I really love the mohair. The problem was that other people have knit the Tulip Guernsey with the Nutiden, but they held the Nutiden double. I didn't want to do that because I had one sweater I knit with the Nutiden double, and it's a bit too warm for my climate. So I end up not wearing it very much. And I find that the sweater I knit with one strand of Nutiden and one strand of mohair, I wear a lot more. It need to be still, December, January, February, maybe, and then I can't because it's too warm. So I had to do some math, and I was pretty silly because I took into consideration the stitch gauge and proportion it and chose a size that would give me the right size, to follow a number of stitches that would give me the correct size, even though I was working with a much smaller gauge. What I forgot to consider was a raw gauge. So instead of having 4 or 5 very chunky tulips in front, I was ending up having like a million of tiny one, and that kind of excuse me, the effect I was getting wasn't what I intended. So I decided to call it a quit and stop working on it. Now I've been trying to unravel it, and you can see some of the results here. The problem, sorry, I had to pick it up something. The problem is this particular Nutiden yarn has a very different consistency between different batches and different colors. This because they mix a different kind of wool, and sometimes even the dyeing process change the properties of the yarn. This particular color I have found to be thinner and more delicate than the other I worked with. So yeah, this is not getting frogged because it's a nightmare. So now I had 3 plates of this yarn, and now I have 2 2/3 maybe. So I will have to think and see. I'm probably gonna end up making a simpler sweater, like a stockinette or maybe some easy texture, and restart this with a different yarn because I really like the Tulip Guernsey. I love most of Midori Rose pattern, but this wasn't working out for me, so I frogged it. And at that point I was feeling a little bit discouraged, and I was a little bit in a knitting slump because I don't take failure easy. So I needed a easy win. So I had some Rowan felted tweed in my stash. I picked up 7 stray balls, that's what I call them, in a sale in a yarn shop that was moving from my village to a different place, and they were having like a closing sale, and they had some felted tweed, Rowan felted tweed colors that they were left with like 1 balls or 2 balls. So I picked up 7. I can show you the leftover because this will be another finished object. Those are the colors. There was also a navy blue. I have none left of that. I played yarn chicken pretty bad and I was able to win. I finished it, the sweater with just like this much of color. And the other color though, I have quite a bit left. I probably can make a hat out of those. And what did I make with that? Well, I made this version of the Stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry, Drea René Knit. I decided to make it in a size, I think 4. It's a size bigger than what I usually make, but I was looking for a sweater that was felt a little bit like a sweatshirt, very comfortable, very nice, and you know, easy going, and I liked the consistency of the yarn, and after I washed it I liked it even more, and I started the sweater and I just couldn't put it down. As usual, the stripe make you want to go farther and farther and farther and farther and farther and farther. So it's finished. So I wasn't too, when I picked up those stray balls, I wasn't too sure they could work together, and I bought them with the idea of making this very sweater. But I have to say, once I've knit them, I really like it. What do you think? It came out perfect. I really love it. It's super, super comfortable. The opening, the neck is a little bit wider for my usual. Usually, like you know, I get cold in the back of my neck, and you know, I'm old. And so this is a little bit more open than my usual sweaters, but I have to say, it's like the weight of the yarn is very nice. It's perfect. I was wearing this today, so I changed it just because I wanted to show you this one too. And you know, with like 15 Celsius outside, it was just perfect. So I'm happy I get to wear it a few times before, you know, and I need to put it away for the summer. And I'm extremely happy with this pattern. It was really, really fun. And I made sure I weave in all the ends as I went. And I used a method to avoid the jogs. This is the back. And I mean, maybe you can see it somewhere here. I probably didn't do it in a couple spots, I forgot. But where I did it, it worked. So that was good. And you know, if somebody's gonna say, hey, you forgot to use your no jog method here when I'm walking around with this sweater, they're too close and they need to back off. So I don't care. I'm happy with it. It's finished. And yeah, I will wear it happily for a long time. And I really love the yarn. And if I have a chance to get some more, you know, maybe when I work through some of that stuff, I will definitely use it again, because it was the results. It's so fluffy and nice. And this was like 7 balls, so it was 350 grams of yarn. And I think the leftover I have here are a little bit more than 50 grams. So with 300 grams of felted tweed, I got a very nice sweater. It's they call that a DK yarn. I think it's a little bit thinner than a DK, but it's that kind of fluffy, light yarn. I think it's woolen spun, so it has a lot of air in it. So you can, you know, work it at a bunch of different gauge and get a different result depending what you what kind of needle and what gauge you go for. So this was another finished object, and as you know, it's been a while, but I've been busy. So I have 2 more things to show. Oh, I finished also a pair of socks. Unfortunately, they were gifted to a dear friend and she's wearing them, possibly. So I don't have them here and I can't show them, but they were just a plain like blue sock, all blue. She wanted all blue, so it's done. You're not gonna see it. And then I started a pair of socks for myself. Socks are kind of like my travel project. I usually don't need them when I'm home unless I'm getting close to finish them or I need the sock. And this winter, I think I walked through a couple of pair, my older pair. They are, you know, they're, you know, I could possibly practice mending, but you know, I don't know when I will do that. So I need some more socks. So I grabbed a ball of this West Yorkshire spinner yarn. It's their signature 4-ply. I believe it's a BFL. No, it says, yes, it has a 35% blue face Leicester, and the total amount of wool is 75% and 25% nylon. Pretty standard sock wool. I love this brand. I made another pair of socks with it before, and they're holding up very well. And this color is, I think this particular color is called Robin, because the color kind of remind of a robin, you know, the bird. And the robins are like some of my favorite bird. I'm very happy in the winter when I see one of them coming to my feeder to get some food, and it's very exciting to me when I see them. So it's a self-striping, self-patterning yarn. This is how it's knitting up. I'm doing my normal 60 stitches vanilla sock. I don't do pattern socks just because as they are mostly travel knitting, I keep them in my purse and work on them, you know, when I am waiting for something, or if I'm flying or in a car and I'm not driving, you know, I work on them. I use my 9 inches circular needle. Those are Gu, and I really love, this is my favorite method of knitting socks. I usually, I always use a small circular needle when I can, also for sleeves. I have both of the small circumference Gu, the red pouch and the blue pouch, and I think I have some of the thicker needle tips, the one that were useful to me. So if I can't pull it off and use the 9-inch or the 12-inch, you know, you can make various circumferences. I will, because I don't like a magic loop. The cable are always in the way, find it annoying, so I don't use it. I love those. So those are socks. This is the first one, and I will have at some point another pair of socks. And then the last thing I want to show you is my current work in progress. After I finished the striped sweater, I decided I wanted to make a very kind of a light sweater to use. I have a couple of favorite spring sweaters that are like cotton, very light wool, store-bought, and they got holes, and so, you know, I can't use them for much longer. So and they are in places where, you know, near the neck band stuff, so it would be hard to mend them. I have to try, but I don't know if I will be successful. So I decided to use one of my cone of Holst Garn Coast. This is a blend of cotton and wool. It's I have a cone of this. I wound a whole bunch. I think it was 160 grams on a ball with my ball winder, and the color, I believe it's called Putty, and it's like a whitish, bluish, grayish, I don't know. It has some dimension to it, not too much. It's not a color I use a lot. I like, you know, bold color. I don't go for subtle neutral color, but wanting to have a kind of like a light spring jumper, I wanted something yeah, that could use with several things, and you know, it's spring, so light color are better. And as I am at it, I'm gonna show you a nice thing, and that I'm using to work, and it's this yarn ball. My uncle has a third machine. Anyway, he's retired, and his hobby is working with wood, and he's really, really good. So I showed him a picture of a yarn ball, And next thing I know, a couple of days after, he said, okay, I got yours, come get it. And I said, what? So yeah, you showed me that, I made one. I'm sorry, are you serious? Yeah, it was definitely serious. And I think for having seen a picture very shortly, it did a pretty damn good job. Look at it. I love it. So I've been using it for my sweater. Let's put it there. And the sweater I decided to make is the Sabella pattern by Isabel Kramer. She made it with a Mayak blend, a cotton and wool blend, which is a little bit thicker than what I'm using. And she made it stripy, and I'm been making it monochromatic. And this is as far as I got. Pretty good. I'm making, I mean, considering it's like this yarn make 350 meter for 50 grams, so it's 700 meter for 100 gram, and it's pretty much a lace, you know. Of course, when I wash it, it will bloom. It doesn't bloom as much as the super soft, but it does bloom. I used this yarn before, but always used it held double, and this time I'm holding it single because I'm curious to see what happened. So the sweater is really cool. It has a cool construction that I wanted to try. Once I started, I remember I had done something like this before on a summer pattern, but you start and then you increase rapidly on the body and leave the sleeve unworked. I mean, you just don't keep the amount of stitches, so it gets this like panel. Sorry, you can't see much on this yarn. This like straight rectangular panel, and then you start increasing on the sleeve too, and you get this very cool line. It's like goes almost straight here, and then it goes like that, and then it goes out a little bit faster. And then you put your sleeve on hold. So up to here was pretty fun, and now I'm on the boring side to doing miles and miles of stockinette in the round. I'm working it with a 3.5 needle, which I think is a little bit, I'm getting a pretty, you know, see-through fabric, but I'm confident that when I wash it, it will, some of the gaps will be closed. And if it doesn't matter. It's like a spring, summer sweater, something to wear like in the evening maybe, or in the morning when I'm cold, and then I take it off and I have my t-shirt underneath. So it will probably, I mean, I'm sure it will serve that purpose pretty good. So yeah, it's going very well, and I will finish it pretty soon, I think. Well, pretty soon. I'm not sure. I have a whole bunch of body and 2 sleeves, so yeah. But I think I'm over halfway through, and yeah, it's good. So this is all I have to show today. This video is so long compared to my usual 15 minutes. I don't know. I'm losing my voice. I talk so much. So I'm gonna say goodbye and let you go, and I hope you enjoyed the company and you got something unique on your project a little bit while we were listening to my ramble. And I'm gonna probably be pulling out some yarn soon, because I'm going on a week vacation soon, and I will definitely take the Sabella with me, but I probably will finish it. So I might, you know, decide what to do next. I don't have a clear idea, so I'm not going to talk about it to just then, you know, call me a liar next time. So it will be a surprise. We'll see what I do next. So again, thank you for watching, and you know, if you can leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and see you next time. Bye.